Hello, everyone. My guest today is Kevin Davis of bestfoodtrucks.com. He is formerly the CEO and co-founder of Geekatoo, which we had him on, obviously, when he was building that, which he scaled from idea to 7,000 providers nationwide and then sold for $20 million back last year or 2 years ago in 2016. He's now the CEO and co-founder of Best Food Trucks and also a musician who plays live EDM at Cinematronica on Instagram. Kevin, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes.
All right, brother. So you go from tech service support to freaking food trucks. How does that work?
It feels so good having, spending 7 years of my life in like consumer IT and fixing computers and all that to get into a completely brand new just vertical. It just feels really good. And also going out to, food trucks, getting to experience this, not only amazing food, but this amazing industry that's just really starting to take roots and figure itself out. And to be part of that kind of brand new thing is really exciting.
Now, people, when I brought in the bio, the obvious thing going through their brain right now is, oh, he sold it for $20 million. How much did he keep? Or was there like $100 million invested and nobody got any money back? Did you raise capital on that? I mean, was it fuck you money that you made from that, or what was it?
That's a very good question.
Try and categorize it with emotion.
Put it this way. It was excited. And I think that in the next year, we'll see what happens. But hopefully that turns from excited to ecstatic.
There was some earnout.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the total deal price was 20.
Yeah.
Got it. And did you have co-founders in that one? Remind us.
So I have one co-founder.
Okay. And do you raise capital or bootstrapped on that one?
So on my last startup?
One.
Yeah. So we raised about 3 million total, a little under that. And then, we just did a seed round. We didn't do a series A or anything like that. So it definitely was on paper, a very positive outcome, and, we'll see what happens in the, future. But hopefully that turns out, pretty good for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There wasn't any crazy like 4x liquidation preference on that 3 million, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, that would be bad. All right. So food trucks. What makes a good food truck in terms of revenue? Like, what are you looking for? How do you know if it's a good deal?
Yeah. Direct answer to your question. So the average truck does about 290K gross in a year, but I think one of the interesting things about food truck is it's more the, take a brick and mortar restaurant and if you get into that, it's, maybe 250,000 or 500,000 and a multi-year lease just to really start a business. But with a food truck, you can do it on a fraction of the cost, where, maybe 75,000 gets you the truck, gets you everything, and you can start. So just like Amazon Web Services did for startups, right? Where you had before AWS, it was like 60 million just to launch a nationwide website. And then that's when you got your first customers and tried to iterate from there. So for food trucks, it's this way to, just like AWS did for startups, it's for the whole restaurant industry where you can, if you're a good chef, you don't have to go out and find these crazy investors and raise a whole ton of money. You just go start cooking, get to your customers, and you can find the different locations as to where your food sells well. So if you're in Los Angeles, for example, it's crazy that you could have the best, let's say, Indian food, and you park one place and you're just not going to get anybody who likes it. And you go somewhere else, same food, and it just kills it. So the nice thing about food trucks is you get kind of this experiment where you go around and you see where your customers are. You get to iterate, find success, and then when you can take that to brick and mortar. So there's places like my favorite breakfast place here in LA. It's called it's a interesting name. So it's called Egg Slut, and so so they have one in Cosmopolitan in Vegas, and they've found a lot of success. Mainly because they started with a truck. They started a very kind of lean startup methodology for restaurants, and they could build it out from there. So when you're saying how do you find like a successful truck that we want to work with or that we want to power? Really, the ones that just are able to learn, able to adapt, to move around. But that's the challenge that we're trying to help them with. Is that so for us, what we do for the trucks is we do kind of the order ahead and the booking process. So let's say you're a food truck. How do you find the places to actually book that are going to be the best for you, that you get the most customers? And then once you get there, how can you make it so people don't have to wait in a 30-person line and they'll walk around and they'll go to the next truck or go somewhere else? So whether it's Coachella, whether it's a business park, whether it's First Friday here at Abbot Kinney in LA, or Off the Grid in SF, all these places we want to just take this amazing food and unwrap it outside of this terrible customer experience of these lines and waiting for your name.
And Kevin, how are you making money on this? Is it a SaaS model, like pay per truck, or what?
So we have on the customer side, we'll have kind of either a convenience fee or what we call a foodie plan. So you can either pay a one-time fee, or let's say you're a business park and there's food trucks parking outside that you're eating from every day. You just pay $3.99 a month, and then that will get you basically the same price
like
as the truck.
Almost $400 a month, or $3.99.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, $3.99 for the customer. We'll take a transaction fee. So
the customer is the food truck, right?
No, sorry. So, okay. Quick example. So you're at a business park, and you want to order from the food truck. You're a customer that's going to actually order the food and eat that food. So when you order from our system using order ahead, and the meal's $10, we'll charge you either $1.50 convenience fee, or we'll roll you into this plan where you can order as much as you want. You get the same price at the truck, and you get exclusive access to some of the food early on.
For how much?
So for the convenience fee is around $1.50. The foodie plan will be about $2.99 a month, $3.99 a month
like
in that range.
$4, right?
Exactly. So you pay just that per month, and then you get unlimited. You get to order as much as you want without any convenience fees.
And it's very free to the truck.
For the truck, then they also pay a SaaS model. So for the truck, they will give the location analytics, all the extra kind of things like multi-platform social media posting, everything that makes their business run smoothly, regulatory compliance, and that's going to be about $149 a month for them to be able to make their lives easier, so they can focus on
$149.
Yeah, and then lastly, the transaction fee so every time it's about 2.5. So when you order from that, we'll take 2.5 of that transaction from the truck, which is a lot lower than what everybody else is.
And when did you launch this thing?
Actually, only about 4 months ago. So it's relatively new.
How many trucks are paying today?
So we have about on the customer side. So we're still kind of in pilot for the order ahead. The nice thing is that for the lot booking, so the process in which by the trucks actually book spots here in LA and 10 cities across the country, we have 1,000 trucks that are using the system. We have.
So does that mean though, Kevin, 1,000 trucks paying $149 a month?
No, sorry. So the order ahead in the SaaS model, that's kind of what we're releasing. Well, this is going to be kind of the future of the company. But on top of that, we're doing the lot booking for them. So that's one model.
Is that free though? The lot booking?
Lot booking is paid. So when those trucks park at a spot, the truck will pay the organizer, let's say $50, and we take $5 as the platform that allows these trucks to actually book. So you have Bobani Taco food truck wants to park outside of the museum here in Los Angeles. They pay the local organizer $50. We take $5.
Who's the local organizer? Like the developer, the landowner?
They're actually just individuals who go and they spin up these markets. They go to the city because it's a hassle to go to the city, apply for the permit, go through all that process. So they do that because they want to start a business of booking those food trucks. And then they go to like the LACMA, like museum or somewhere else. They say, hey, we'll manage this whole process for you. And then we'll bring trucks as long as we can kind of, make some money off.
And then they decide with the landowner some kind of rent structure that they get a cut of, plus the $50. Like it's basically like getting a tenant, right? In a rental house. It's a $50 lease fee and then a rent per month.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is it's actually free. I don't understand. These property owners don't want any like rent, or they don't care.
How do they make money?
They're not gonna, exactly. They don't want to. It's like
oh, come on, Kevin. I don't believe that.
Okay, so I'm actually a little shocked myself, but from having seen this a bunch of times, what happens is you have like a 20-story building, and the property owner, if they get like a little tiny bit, they don't really care. What they want is the quality of life that comes from like, hey, all these companies should stay at our building versus somewhere else. Exactly. So
there's more food options.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So let me get this right. Office tower in San Francisco, LA. Some entrepreneur says, I want to spin up a little four food truck plot outside of this place. They negotiate with the landowner. The landowner says, yeah, if you can do that, that's great. We'll give it to you for free because we want the quality of life for our commercial tenants to go up, their leases go longer, etc. They shake on it. The person that opened that 4-spot space then gets paid $50 per food truck that signs up. You help them find that truck by giving them access to your network and take a $5 cut in between.
Yeah, and we have the platform too. Like before us, they were using Excel, email, manual PayPal links. Like it was just this like messy process, and we streamlined that process. So you have it exactly correct. Except in that last step, all they would do is they say, "Hey, we want 4 trucks here," and they did post it. we take care of everything. We find the trucks, we do the payment, we streamline the platform and everything like that.
So 1,000 of them have paid $50, right? And you've made 5 per each. So that's $5,000 in revenue there. What about on the consumer side? By the way, is that all the revenue you have right now because you're just launching other stuff on the food truck side?
Yeah. So trying to simplify this into as simple as narrative as possible. For I merged. So my co-founder is like crazy. Like he's the head of the National Food Truck Association. He helped spin up 19 of the 21 regional associations. So think of any food truck city really across the country. He helped the people that spun up the market, that went out and found the food truck. So if you go read like New York Times, The Economist, they'll come quote him for all those stories. Okay. So he had that kind of the lot booking process. I merged with his company. So now we're all one, just bestfoodtrucks.com. So that's why we've had a lot more. I mean, I've only been doing this for 6 months, but that platform was around for a couple of years. And that's why, we processed in 2017, we processed $1 million in revenue from the trucks giving money to the organizers. That's why we already have 1,000 trucks in 10 cities and already have a decent amount of traction for.
But how do you process $1 million when you charge $5 per 1,000? That's 5,000, not $1 million.
So not net to us the total process in the system. So when that's
$50, right? Times 1,000 is $50,000.
Yeah. So you're saying like in the example that you have where the truck pays the organizer $50, those kind of payments in 2017 we processed $1 million worth. So we didn't take that million directly.
I understand that. I know, I get that. But you said you did 1,000 trucks. 1,000 times 50 is $50,000, not $1 million. Why am I not understanding?
In that case, what's the frequency in your example? Because they're doing this a ton of times.
Oh, they do it over and over again as they move.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So they move a lot then. I divide $50,000 into $1 million, basically. So they're moving 20 times on average per month. Per year.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny. In some of the smaller areas, they might be booking just a few times so that they either have their own place, they might do a few spots. But we actually have trucks that are booking every single day in some areas. So you have these power truck users that are, because I mean, it costs money to do some of these lots. But on the other hand, the reason why it costs money is because they can deliver to the customers.
Yep.
So if it's a premium spot, they want to keep coming back to that. So
what about let's switch to the consumer side. So on the consumer, so just be clear, hold on the food truck side, on the revenue, you process $1 million, right? You're taking 10% of that, 5 out of 50, right? Yeah. So 10% of that, you made $100,000 there, 2017. Let's switch to consumer side. How many of them are paying $3, $4, or $5 a month for this, convenience?
So that's what we're launching, and we're in pilot right now in LA. We have
nobody yet.
Exactly. So it's still in pilot for that. But we've done about 400 orders right now via that, and it's growing pretty quickly in terms of how many trucks how many trucks that are in our system. We went from like a handful to about 60 in just November and December. And then now we have one lot, which is going to probably expand by the end of this month to about somewhere between like 5 and 10.
Great.
And then that's where we'll implement the convenience plan, everything like that, or the convenience fee in the next 2-3 weeks, and then start actually charging for it.
You've seen, you haven't seen, but I did a big video on Facebook where I walked up to a random truck and tried to acquire the whole thing on the spot.
I did see a little bit. Yeah. Exactly.
It got like 1.2 million views. So I've decided I'm going to keep doing this, investing in random trucks on the spot. How would you, and most times if I give a truck $100,000, I say the way you pay me back is, $1 or $1.50 per meal sold until I'm paid back, and then 10 cents per meal in perpetuity. As I go hunt for deals, is there some kind of data that I can buy from you to sense what's hot and what's not and go find additional food trucks to finance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, it would almost be like, the funny thing is if you're going to drop 100,000, by the way, you could almost just basically start your own truck.
But I don't want to.
Okay. You want to, yeah. So the thing that we really want to focus on is if we have the exclusive data for when these trucks are moving around the city constantly, we see the sales data, we see across a bunch of different variables that if you are going to start a vegan truck in, let's say, East LA and park it at certain areas, you're going to do incredibly well. We can take that data and we either sell it to you, or we then go and we raise money on that and start to open our own trucks. Because if we have that data and we know it's going to be successful, we might even just take advantage of that. I know we're very early on in this, but when we think of like our long-term vision of how we just want to be a giant company, is there's a couple of large restaurant conglomerates like Bloomin' Brands, these companies that owns, like the Applebee's and the Olive Gardens and things like that. And you have all these like nationwide brick and mortar chains. but there really are no nationwide or worldwide kind of the mobile vendors. Cousins Made Lobster might be the closest one, where you have a food truck, franchise. There's 16 across the country, where we can kind of use this data to start our own trucks and figure that out, and then create that brand and then replicate it in different cities to build that out. So sorry, but back to your question about how do you we could give you that data to basically say, right now, this type of food is absolutely killing in this part of the city or whatever. So if you find, and these are by the way, the top 5 trucks that are within that vertical or that kind of food, we could absolutely give that to you and have you then go up to those trucks and say yes, we can.
So I'm gonna get a deal with you. I will be you need a buyer of that data to actually go fundraise on it. You need proof of concept. I'll be the first customer. I'll pay 10 grand for that data, but I also want 5% of the company.
Oh, okay. Is this another video where then you just?
No, but I'm serious. I'm dead serious about it.
Yeah.
Think about it, and I'll have you back on the show. We'll negotiate. But I would love to figure out a way where I could become your first customer of that. But I also want upside in the actual business, a small something.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we are fundraising. So
how much are you trying to raise?
About $500K right now.
On what?
I can tell you the valuation in it.
You're still working through that.
Exactly. Yeah. We have some money in at that valuation.
Price? So it's a priced round.
Convertible note.
Oh, it is a note. So you have the cap already arranged.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. By the way, I'm more valuable because I would actually be a customer.
I appreciate it. And actually and you'd be a data customer. And so for us to see what what kind of would be important to you and all the kind of the doubts you'd have or what you focus on. Absolutely. Because the analytics is something that we will have the exclusive access that nobody else will have for that. So.
Yeah, look, I'm probably going to put $1 million into different food trucks over the next 24 months. So having access to a data set like this might be potentially interesting. I'm assuming you have all the data I'm looking for. You probably do, but we'll talk more offline about that, all right?
Of course.
All right, Kevin, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what is your favorite business book?
Oh, this is going to be cheesy. I have to go back to lean startup methodology. Every time that I think that I have, everybody knows it is MVP. I mean, it's basic number 1 right now. And then as we're building out this, I just have to keep coming back to it. So
yeah. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
That's a good question too.
Don't make one up. If you don't have one, just say none.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have as you just for building the business?
Yes, by far, I have to give a shout out to, this is where we went with Send Sonar. We built, when we were starting a company, we have complete SMS, integration, with the way that we can check, with people that want to basically if they're ordering from us, if the trucks have questions, in an hour, we set up an entire support system based on SMS that's scalable for us. It was incredibly important. So sendsonar.com was crazy good.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I get about 8. I'd say it's important for me to be rested. Yeah.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
Married.
How many kids?
No kids.
No kids yet. All right. And how old are you, Kevin?
I am 36.
Last question. Take us back 16 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I wish that my 20-year-old self, I had no idea that I was going to start a business. I had no idea I was getting into startups or do anything like that. So I wish I had a little bit more of yes, I can do that. It would have never dawned on me that I could even do a business in the first place. So a little bit more of that kind of self-confidence, I guess. There
you guys have it from Kevin. He would have gone for it earlier on. When he did go for it, he launched Geekatoo, did well, sold it in 2016 for $20 million. If you want to hear more about that company, go listen to our first interview together, which was when he was still running Geekatoo. But he sold that, hoping for a nice earnout there as the company continues to integrate obviously all that post-acquisition. In the meantime, he's launched himself into Best Food Trucks, really doing a data play, a consumer play, and a food truck kind of direct play as he's helping food trucks book places, giving them recommendations on where to open shop, and also helping consumers, order quicker, which gives value back to the landowners who have now can give more choices to any of their tenants, which increases the value there. It's an interesting model. Kevin, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much.